Hello, I am Linda, and I run the Cities VR game for fast travel.
This was such a huge surprise. Like, so many players have been playing the city's Skylines and its many expansions for so many years now. It's become one of the most interesting and fun and complex city builders in a time where we really don't have things like SimCity anymore. What is it like to take on this project and turn it into a VR format?
Well, I think it's extra fun for me because I used to work for Paradox before, and I worked at the internal dev studio, so I wasn't involved, but I was there when Skylines was released first. So I played it a lot back then, and I think it was super fun to jump on the fast travel project here and see how they had been doing, because I haven't been on it for very long. So they had it up and running when I came aboard already, and to just build in an entire new way, it was amazing. And that they managed to fit a cities type of game into Quest as well. That's been hard work.
I can imagine. Like, when you look at City Skylines itself, it's got so many keys, so many macros, so many things to consider and organize and manage. And we're talking about like taking that very complex system and making it playable on a couple of motion controllers. And like that, can you talk a little bit of that in of itself, like changing from a keyboard interface where you had all these macros to such a different format?
Yeah. They have remade the interface entirely, of course, and they have made it VR. So you build the city in an entire new way, and you interact with the UI in an entire new way. I think it works really well, and it's super cool when you have the tactile feedback and you can just glide around through your city.
A game like Cities VR is a very interesting thing too, because like for a lot of VR games, people tend to you have the perpetual motion of the game itself, where people tend to get motion sick. But with a game like Cities VR, Cities has always been a thing where you're kind of observing from a sky point. Like, have you had a chance to test it with various people and see how they feel about like the comfort levels of the game?
Yeah, for sure. We have two normal heights, then you can adjust them somewhat as well, but they're bird's eye, and then we have the more street level view. And different people on the team actually prefer the different views. So I use bird's eye a lot, so I'm always like top down and looking down at my city. But others think it's more intuitive to just be where you are actually building things. That's also a good thing because you can affect your comfort level. If you notice, for example, that you're looking down a lot, maybe you should try the street level more. I don't really look down, so I don't see the problem there, but I do like that you can change it so you won't get a problem either.
And in regards to like City Skylines, the game has a lot of different complex features, whether you're talking about just the buildings themselves, setting the streets, building the pipeline infrastructure. Has it been a very one-to-one conversion, or have there been things that have been adjusted like drastically?
There's definitely not a one-to-one conversion, no. We have had to change a lot of things. I think the most drastic one will be the size of the city. In the PC game or in Skylines, you can expand the city up to 9 squares. In Cities VR, you're gonna have the one, and it's gonna be a bit smaller, but I think it's gonna be fine. It's a different part of the game, but I do like the starting phase of cities. And I do hope other players will like that too. You can build a moderate sized city. You're probably not gonna be able to cram 1 million people in there though.
When we look at the VR landscape as it is right now, there really hasn't been a management sim to look at. Like you don't have like something where like a first person shooter has various examples to look to, or you have like different adventure games or athletic games that have things like Beat Saber or other fitness apps to look to. So it's almost like y'all are kind of trailblazing a little bit of the genre in VR. What has it been like to be kind of the first city management game in the VR space?
Well, I think the hardest part is that management games tend to have a lot of UI, like a lot of text, and that doesn't really suit VR. And so we have tried to minimize the dependency on text. So we have a lot of icons for things, for example. Since we also remade the interface, I think that also helps. But I do think that's part of the reason why that we have rather few competitors in this area.
Will there still be sort of like tutorials and guides in the game to help players that are unfamiliar with how to manage the city or how to build the infrastructure and help them figure it out?
Yeah, definitely.
How do you approach that in this particular game? Is it still like, you've in the past we've seen like tool tips, but how are you approaching like tutorials and stuff like that in the VR build?
Well, the tutorial is it's rather simple. You have a short text on what to do, and then a GIF showing how to do it, and then when you do it, you can go to the next step. And I think it's a format that people recognize, and I think it's gonna help people move along in the beginning. I think it's gonna work fine.
You mentioned that there are some things that are quite different from just like the adaptation and things that are not necessarily in the VR version that were in the PC version. Is there anything that the team has added to the VR version that you couldn't necessarily do on PC with just a regular keyboard and mouse?
Hard question. No, I think you can really do anything with a keyboard and mouse, except getting haptic feedback for some things, maybe.
Has that been something the team has explored when doing this particular project?
Well, the haptic feedback, or
Yes. Yeah.
We have, like, for example, in the tutorial, when you need to look down at one of your hands, you get a small feedback, and then we noticed it was a bit too little, because when you read text at the same time, you may not notice anyway. So we added a bit of a pulse, and yeah, we've tweaked it a little bit.
Would you say that this is a game that will appeal to all fans, or is it more for newcomers to the city's series, or would you say it like reaches across to everybody well?
I think everyone who likes management games and wants to play them in VR should give this a go. But I think if you have played very advanced City Skylines games before, and you expect to be able to build the 1 million inhabitant city, then you might feel it's a bit small. But then you have to consider where you are. You're basically running it on a mobile phone, right? And we have to make some cutbacks.
Is there a plan for continuing to build onto the game and support it after release?
Definitely. We have a lot of free content coming up, and we're going to keep supporting it.
Linda, where can people find out more about Cities VR? Where can they get the latest updates on the game? Where can they check it out?
Well, you can come talk with us at the Discord, just discord.gg/fasttravelgames, I think. And we release on the 28th, now Thursday.